Hello everyone, I just wanted to make a discussion video real quick. Apparently Tekken X Street Fighter has become a project that is harder to justify regardless of the random little snippets of information we've been getting. The whole at one point we heard they had a roster already figured out. At one point we heard they were 30% complete. Apparently, Harada spoke recently. So apparently recently Harada explained how even though he still does want to continue with the Tekken X Street Fighter project, it has even more hurdles to jump to continue development. And with all due respect, these supposed barriers in question are all really disappointing to hear 10 years after this joint project was confirmed as a thing. In the article posted over a week ago, and yes, the link is in the description, what it basically comes down to is Harada not only needs permission from Capcom to continue, but apparently those in charge of the competitive scene of Tekken still feel releasing the game anytime soon may disrupt the competitive flow of Tekken 7. I think Harada even mentions there's a possibility that those in charge of Street Fighter V right now might feel the same. This may just be 10 years of wait manifesting into anger, but this is possibly the most unwanted news I've ever heard about video games for the past 5 years. Look, I don't mean to be that guy, but even if you want Tekken 7 to last as long as possible, he even calls it a service game at one point, you need to make a new game eventually. As much as I'd love to keep playing Tekken 7 and support it, because it's, in my opinion, thousands of times more fun than Tag 2 was, I won't lie, I'd like another Tekken-inspired game to play. There's not a lot of good 3D fighters out. I know what I said before you make a comment about any other ones that are out. A big crossover game that could potentially have every, or at least the majority of characters I love from Tekken and Street Fighter would be really nice right now. In all honesty, I'm not trying to make yet another hindsight love letter to Street Fighter Cross Tekken, but that game, with all its blunders, is definitely in my top 5 fighting games of all time. And for the record, its final roster is my favorite roster in all of fighting game history. The thing about this situation that just feels like a lack of common sense is, if anyone at Capcom believes they are going to lose players to a Tekken-based game, they are out of their minds. Okay? I've met Street Fighter players. I have several friends who are Street Fighter players. I admit I've met more than 10, but definitely less than 40 people who came to Tekken because of Akuma. And then the inevitable happened. They switched to a Tekken character because Akuma is hard. None of those players stopped playing Street Fighter V, entering both tournaments in my local scene. They just play both now. That seems like a good thing for both franchises if you ask me. As far as Namco should be concerned, there have been several instances where a staple fighting game, admittedly it's usually Street Fighter, shares the spotlight with a crossover game containing source characters. I believe Tekken could achieve that with Tekken 7. No one stopped playing Street Fighter 4 because of Street Fighter Cross. I can hear people now, that's because it was bad. No, that's because, like Marvel vs. Capcom, there's just all this stuff stacked on top of the Street Fighter stuff. Street Fighter Cross Tekken was a tag game. Every character had a universal launch, like in Tekken. There's more juggles, like in Tekken. More hit strings, like in Tekken. Not to mention the cross mechanics, the things that neither game really had before, but now this game has. Even if Street Fighter Cross Tekken had no problems, people would still have wanted a normal feeling Street Fighter game, because that's just how Street Fighter players are. I think all fighting game players are like that to a certain extent. This brings up a valid point about Tekken X Street Fighter, though. I want you to think about this for a second. The element of worry of it stealing Tekken 7 or Street Fighter spotlight is kind of unsettling to me. How much like Tekken are they trying to make Tekken X Street Fighter? I would hope Namco would be smart enough to realize that just having Tekken 7 with Street Fighter characters in it is not what this project should be. There were so many new mechanics on top of the blending of both games mechanics with Street Fighter Cross Tekken that it was pretty much its own game, but it clearly took after its Street Fighter roots. I would hope Tekken X Street Fighter would do the same with Tekken. The Tekken team did an amazing job with Akuma, that much is certain, and it works seeing as how he's the only Street Fighter character in Tekken 7. But half the roster being Street Fighter characters will require like unique checks and balances. Because yeah, half the cast with last minute 90% health combos in the third rounds of every match will get annoying. Alright, Akuma has 2 bars of meter based off a game that gives him 4, and he can do like almost all of your health. They need to take that into account. The fact that they're not working on this is a problem. There's so much that needs to get done, and the fact that they don't even know if they're going to continue with the project is appalling. Like, my dumbass honestly believed that they were going to have a trailer or something by EVO, or at least the World Finals this year. Guess I was wrong. This sucks. There's another console generation on the way. This project has skipped 2 now. I, for one, am tired of waiting, and I want to hear what your thoughts on Tekken X Street Fighter are. Feel free to leave a comment about it. Like, I've already seen some people being like, because there's a point where in the article where he's like, Capcom may say no now, and then everyone's like, go to SNK. I don't want a King of Fighters cross Tekken. Or a Tekken cross King of Fighters. I'll be that guy right now. I like King of Fighters, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend I like it more. My favorite King of Fighters is not better than my favorite Street Fighter. Let me put it to you that way, because on average, I prefer King of Fighters because it just feels more fun. But there's no King of Fighters that's better than, in my opinion, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. That's my favorite version of Street Fighter, right? In all honesty, there have been good moments. Like, for example, Capcom vs. SNK 2. One of my favorite things to do is legitimately pick Yoon and any other Street Fighter character and use the SN or K grooves, the Art of Fighting, King of Fighters, and Samurai Showdown grooves. Because their mechanics, I admit, are better. But SNK's characters are a testament to what's wrong with Japan holding the market for fighting games, in my personal opinion. Same, stereotypical, anime, cliches made over and over again. Characters with no special moves, but they have like weird command normals. Characters with too many special moves. I won't lie, I was a bit concerned with Geese being the guest character in Tekken because how many times has he been banned in a King of Fighters title that he's in? So, maybe you want a King of Fighters X Tekken. Maybe you think that's cool. I personally do not. And again, I would love to hear your comments, like what you think needs to happen to make this happen. Anyway, my name is K Fenrir. If you stayed till the end, I thank you very much, and I hope to see you online sometime. Later.